and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go through some of my top tips if you are a solo female traveler. Now obviously these tips will be helpful for anyone who's traveling as well, but they're just some things that I kind of picked up along the way when I was traveling. It can be very intimidating and very scary to be a woman traveling by yourself, but these things that I did help me feel more secure, helped me feel more comfortable in all these different environments that I was in, and definitely made my experience more enjoyable. So I wanted to share them with you today. Some of them are safety tips, some of them you'll probably already know, some of them are just helpful for logistics. So let's get right into it. So I have my phone here because basically I've been writing them down in my notes as I think of them. I started this list while I was traveling, and I've kind of amended it as I've gone along, and as I've kind of thought about things, or been talking to friends and been like, oh yeah, that's something I did. It's just been really handy to keep in my notes. I think I'm in a pretty good position to give these tips. I recently discovered that I have been to 4 of the top 5 murder capitals in the world, which I didn't realize at the time, if I'm being perfectly honest, but there you go. Tip number 1, and this is so essential, you should not travel without it. Travel insurance. Travel insurance. Get it. I know it's the last thing you want to do when you're coming up to a trip and you don't want to spend money on all this extra stuff, but it's non-negotiable. You can get your travel insurance for a year that's going to cost around 60 or 70 euros. Certainly mine does anyway, and it covers a multitude of situations. And also, I mean, this time last year is when I injured my knee when I was traveling. I also have health insurance, so I was using my health insurance, but had I not, my travel insurance would have covered it, and it just meant that I was able to be reimbursed. And I mean, I spent a lot of money in medical facilities while I was there, a lot of money on medication when I was there. I had to get different flights. I had to get an ambulance taxi basically to the airport when I was going home. I had to have special assistance in the airport, and I honestly don't think I would have gotten, I would have been able to do any of that stuff by myself. I wouldn't have been able to get myself through the airport efficiently. I don't know how I would have got to the airport anyway, with my leg in a cast essentially. So it's really non-negotiable. I mean, even if it's something as simple as losing your luggage, it means you're able to be reimbursed, you're able to get all your new things. If you're anything like me, like I travel obviously with my camera, my GoPro, my hard drive, my laptop, everything, and just that security blanket to be able to say, if something goes wrong, I will be able to claim for it, I'll be able to get my money back, or if God forbid you have an injury, you'll be able to get it sorted out and you won't be left out of pocket, because injuries can be really, really, really expensive. Trust me, I've seen the bill for my surgery. It was not pretty. So do yourself a favor, get yourself travel insurance. It's a lot cheaper to buy it for the year generally than it is to buy it for singular trips. So just do yourself a favor and do that. It's worth it, trust me. The next thing I want to talk about is bank cards and essentially money options for when you're traveling. So I have my regular bank card, which is a Visa debit, but I also got a Revolut card, which is online banking card, before I went traveling, which is a MasterCard. So this was a really handy thing to have, because one thing that I hate about my bank card that I have, and this is in Ireland, so I don't know if it's the same for different banks around the world, but basically if I were to lose my card, I would have to call my bank, cancel my card, and I wouldn't have control over the situation. Whereas with my Revolut card, I can go into the app and I can freeze the card. So say I actually just misplaced it and it was actually in my hotel room and I thought it was in my purse, and I came back and I was like, oh well, there it is, and I've cancelled it with my bank now. This way you can just freeze it so no one's able to use it if it is stolen, but if it is just mislaid, then you're able to just unfreeze the card and use it again. It's also feeless banking, so there's none of these excess fees that you get when you're using your card, and it was also very easy to use. I mean, I just transferred money from my regular bank account into my card, essentially topped it up and used it all the time when I was abroad. So just give yourself options when you're traveling. Don't just have one card. I would advise you to travel with a credit card as well. If you just have a regular debit card, maybe apply apply for a credit card and bring that along as well, and give yourself options. Something that I do religiously, and I did when I was going on my trip, is I left a copy of basically everything with my family. Now the fact that they basically told me a day after I went traveling that they couldn't find it is neither here nor there. I left a copy with them, it's their own problem. But what I did was I printed out a copy of my travel insurance, my itinerary, any visas that I had, copies of my passport, information on my health insurance. I had copies of all of that, which I was able to give to my family so that if there was an issue, I knew they had a copy. I also had copies of absolutely everything on my Google Drive, which meant that I was able to access it if needs be, whenever. So leave a copy with someone, or at least give them access to your Google Drive or something like that, or Dropbox, or whatever you want to use, so that in an emergency or in a situation where maybe you've mislaid something, they're able to get that to you. This one is important to me, and this is something that I do when I'm traveling, is keeping your like last active or last seen on WhatsApp available. If you don't use WhatsApp, sorry, this won't be useful. I don't know what other people use. So keeping that kind of last active thing on, because say if something, hopefully this wouldn't happen, but something happened to you and you don't have your last active on, people wouldn't know how long it's been since you were last online. So just giving that flexibility and security to know, okay, well at least we know she was online 2 hours ago. That makes things a lot nicer for people when you're traveling. If you have an iPhone, there's also the Find My Friends app, or Find Friends, or whatever it's called. What is it actually called? Hold please. Find Friends. So you're able to tap into that and see where the person is. Now obviously, I mean, I really only share this with my parents and maybe my sisters, but just so that when you're traveling and once you have Wi-Fi, people are able to say, oh well, Katie's there, you know. It just gives your family at home a little bit of security. I just think it's nice to make the people at home feel a little bit happier about you traveling around the world by yourself, which my parents are not necessarily thrilled about, but look, they got through it. I also have in this purse a tile. Basically what this does is I keep it in my purse, so if I were to lose my purse, I can go into the tile app. Look, a cute little bear on it, look. This is basically connected to my purse, so I can click on my purse here, click find, and it rings. But basically it just means that it'll make a noise. I'm able to find it if I've mislaid it. Say if I left a coffee shop and I left my purse there and I suddenly realized, like, crap, I don't have my purse, just click find, this will start ringing, and it's a lot more easy to find. So get yourself a tile. It's so tiny, I just throw it in my purse. I actually forgot I had it in there, but it's a nice little thing to have. And if you want to keep it with any of your other things, you can attach it. It has a little key ring, so if you want to keep it on keys or anything like that, it's really useful. This is kind of an obvious one, but I feel like I saw a lot of people do this while I was traveling, and I just kind of thought, like, what are you doing? Don't bring super nice, expensive, heirloom, meaningful jewelry with you. Like, do not bring your grandmother's heirloom necklace. No, like what if it gets lost? You will never find it again. I was traveling with a really lovely couple through Central America on my tour group, and they're married and they didn't want to bring their wedding rings with them, so they both got like these, what were they, like a kind of rubbery, plasticky rings that they put on. And I would also recommend having a cheap ring of some description that you can slip onto your ring finger if needs be. There is a reason for this, okay? I found when I was traveling solo that I would get asked a lot, was I traveling solo? And I would highly recommend to never ever say yes to that question, because it opens you up to so many vulnerabilities. So I would always say, I have a friend here. But the thing that I went back to the most, and the thing that made me feel most secure, was slipping these rings off my middle finger and slipping them onto this ring finger and like holding it up to people and being like, no, my partner's back in the hotel, I'm not alone. And that shut down the conversation way more than saying, no, I'm with a friend, or any of the other options. I've been in taxis with people in the middle of Bangkok with the taxi driver, and they're asking, oh, are you single? Are you with someone? And in the back I'm slipping this onto my finger and going, no, my fiance is back in the hotel, or my husband, or my partner, or whatever. That would be a top tip. I know it seems so strange to do, but it really works. Trust me on this one. Portable chargers, important. I would get a half decent one to bring with you at the very least. Spend a little bit of money on it, maybe 50 euro or something. It'll be worth it in the end, because it can be a little bit scary if you are an hour or two away from your hotel or something. It's getting dark, you don't know how to get back to your hotel, or you're about to get into a taxi or something and your phone is dying. Don't do it. Have a portable charger with you so that you're able to contact someone at all times. It just makes you a lot safer. And also, while we're on the topic of taxis as well, before I got into taxis, I would always take a note of the license plate. I think that's really important. Always make sure that you're getting in a licensed taxi. Don't get into these random cars that are like, yeah, I'm a taxi, and it shows no signs of being a taxi. Don't do that. It's incredibly unsafe. So whether it's a tuk-tuk or a taxi or whatever it may be, make sure it's licensed before you get in, and take a note of the license plate number. And another thing that I would always do before getting in any sort of transportation is I would go into Google Maps, and I would put in the location that I wanted to get to and click the route, so I had it, and so I would be able to see if they were taking me the wrong way, which it sounds like, okay, you're a bit crazy, like, trust the taxi drivers. It actually happened to me in Bangkok. I was getting in a taxi. The guy spoke no English, zero, zilch, and I had mapped my route, so I knew it was going to take 15 minutes to get back to my hotel. And we were coming out of, I was in this rooftop bar, which was incredible, and coming out of there, and we were supposed to go left, and he went right. And I was like, okay, it's a bit funny, and I was tracking it on my phone so I could see that, like, oh, okay, if he goes right here and goes up and goes left again, he'll join back up the route. He didn't do that and kept going right. That was freaky, and I basically had my bags on. I was like ready to jump out if needs be, and I leaned forward and I showed him, look, I'm tracking the route, I know you're going the wrong way. And eventually he went back onto the right route, and when I say eventually, this was probably 30 seconds later, he went back onto the right route, doubled back around, and I got back to my hotel. But it just shows them that you are aware, you are taking notice, you know what way you should be going, and if they're going the wrong way, make no qualms about jumping out of the car if you need to. Your safety is the most important thing, and because it's a visual thing and you can show them the map, even if there is a language barrier there, you're able to get your message across. I'm making it sound like I'm terrified of taxi drivers. That was like one in I don't know how many taxis that I had that situation. I mostly found them to be lovely, really nice, would give me recommendations of places to go, but you are essentially getting in a car with a stranger. You should always have your wits about you, so it's just better to be safe than sorry. When you're by yourself, it is incredibly difficult to apply sun cream to everywhere. I'm pretty flexible, I can reach a lot of my back, but still, I mean, you don't want to mess around with sun cream and have like some weird marks on your back. This is just a practical one. Get a sun cream which sprays at all angles in a continuous spray, almost like a deodorant or something. I was using Neutrogena. They do a really good one, and it just meant that I wasn't depending on strangers to put sun cream on my back. I was able to do it all by myself. So that's a good practical one. I've mentioned Google Maps already, but another good thing to do with Google Maps is to download an offline map. If you're not sure how to do that, you basically go into your Google Map and you type the hamburger menu, which if you're not into design, the hamburger menu is in the top left hand corner, and it's the three little lines. You tap that, you then tap offline maps, custom map, and then it's going to give you the option to download the map. It'll take up some storage, but you can delete it when you've left the country, and it just means that if you have no Wi-Fi access, you're able to still get around because it's available to you offline. Another thing that's good to do is, if you know you're going to be in a country for a while, is to get a SIM card. I was moving around so quickly that it was not worth getting a SIM card. I was sometimes only in a country for like 3 days. don't bother. But I did meet people who were traveling Vietnam for a month. Definitely get a SIM card. It means you have Wi-Fi, you're able to stay in contact with people, you're able to use your maps and just be a little bit more secure. So I would definitely recommend that. Also, if you're going to Europe, maybe traveling Europe for a period of time, there is a new law brought into Europe now where your data crosses over, and so say for example I can use my data from my phone when I am in London or Hungary or France or Germany or wherever it may be. So that's another good option if you're traveling around Europe. Oh, if you are staying in a hostel and you're staying in a dorm in a hostel, make sure you have a padlock for your stuff, and you know they have the facilities so that you can lock things away. As I mentioned earlier, was traveling with my laptop, my hard drive, my GoPro, my camera, my phone, everything. I only stayed in a dorm one night, but I had completely forgotten a padlock and had to go and buy one. Get a decent one and just know that your things are going to be secure. And while I'm talking about hostels as well, another good thing to think about is if you don't want to have a dorm with other people, you can get your own room in a lot of hostels. I didn't really want to stay in hostel dorms by myself. I just didn't, even if it was an all-female one. I've had a couple of bad experiences with hostels, but I started looking into individual rooms, and that was the perfect balance because it meant that I had my own room, I had my own space. There wasn't people turning on the light at 3 a.m. in the morning, which happened in Miami. This girl came in out of nowhere and turned on all the lights at 3 a.m. and started talking to everyone, and everyone was like, "Are you kidding? What are you doing?" So it just means you have your own space. No one's waking you up at stupid hours. You can also go and nap if you need to, whatever you want to do. But you also have that hostel experience as well, which is way better than a hotel, let's be honest. It's generally more people kind of in your age range. They do a lot of activities like bike tours and pub crawls and all that kind of stuff. And they have fun facilities. I find that you get chatting to people a lot more in hostels because they have more, you know, common areas and that kind of thing. So if you are a solo traveler, you're not mad on dorms, look into hostels that have individual rooms. They are brilliant. I was always booking them through booking.com. So there's actually a filter on booking.com where you can select best for solo travelers, and that was brilliant. A lot of the time a lot of hostels will come up and I stayed in some amazing ones. Definitely if you're not into dorms like myself, I feel like I'm just too old now and I just don't care. I'm like, I'll be a granny, I'm going to bed now. If you're not into dorms, then the private rooms in hostels are a really good option as well. I had a situation when I was in Vietnam where I went out for a day trip. So I left at I think 7:45 in the morning and didn't get back till 9:30 at night, and this is in a hotel, and whoever came in to clean my room never locked the door again. So my room was unlocked from about 10 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. with my laptop, hard drive with about 5 years worth of photos on it, visas, insurance details, all of that was in my room. That was one of my lowest points when I was traveling, to be honest, because I was just I felt so like vulnerable for the day, and obviously I came back completely oblivious that my room had been unlocked all day, but like all of my things could have been stolen. I certainly was more vigilant, you know, make sure that you're using the safes in the hotel, make sure you're hiding things in your room, and hopefully just stay in rooms that don't have room keys and instead have the swiping cards, because at least you know the door will close behind someone if they're cleaning your room. So that was not fun. This one is one that I didn't really think of that much, and I happened to throw this into my bag last minute before I went traveling, and I actually used it quite a lot. This is a teeny tiny torch. It's actually quite powerful and it fits into your hand, and you can just, yeah. When I was staying in, God, where was I? It was the second place I went to in Vietnam. Gorgeous hotel, the staff were amazing, it was so lovely. It was off the main road, and there had been, like, I want to say a typhoon or some sort of flooding or something 3 weeks before I went to this particular town, and as a result the street lighting on that road wasn't working. Sometimes walking down at night was super creepy. You do not want to make yourself vulnerable by turning on, and also this isn't very powerful, turning on the torch on your phone and walking around with your phone out. Like, that is just it's just not as secure. Whereas you can't even tell I'm holding something, and I was just able to turn on my torch and walk down the road. If I heard a noise, I'd be like, who's there? Who is it? like really getting a little bit too hyper about the whole thing. But it just meant that I had something small and secure in my hand, and I was able to find my way there. There was never any problem, but it was just to give myself that security of being able to turn that on and see. This is actually on a keychain, and this is so funny. I actually got this in like a goodie bag in work, and I was working on the event, and when the girl was like, oh, we'll get torches, I was like, that is the stupidest thing ever to have in a goodie bag. I was like, no one wants a torch, Aisling. Sorry, Aisling. It's totally useful. I love it. It was actually a genius idea, so yeah, shows what I know. When you are traveling, and if you're anything like me, you're going through memory cards, you're getting a new memory card for every city you're in. What I would recommend is uploading that stuff to the cloud or to a hard drive or something as quickly as possible, because there is nothing more soul destroying than losing a memory card with content on it. Luckily it didn't happen while I was traveling, but it has happened before. When I was in Budapest with friends from work, that content is just gone, and I was so sad, but what can you do? It is what it is. So uploading it to the cloud, putting it on a hard drive, whatever it is, doing that as quickly as humanly possible so that you don't lose those memories, that's a really good thing to do as well. Make sure that you have a secure bag, a crossbody bag. So I will show you what I traveled with the whole time. Okay, so these are the two bags that I traveled with the whole time. So this first one is just, it's like a vegan leather bag from Urban Outfitters that I got honestly years ago. It is chock-a-block with crap right now. The good thing about it is it has this separate pouch that is attached to the bag that you can put some valuables in and just throw it in. The bad thing is it's super open, like anyone could reach their hand in and take stuff. It's supposed to have kind of a metal closer up here, but it's actually moved down the bag as time has gone on. I think it's like down here. So obviously it doesn't close anything. I really only ever use this when I was going to the airport and I wanted to have all my kind of valuable stuff with me. I always have a really big scarf when I'm traveling. I would stuff that on top to kind of cover the top of it, because it isn't the most secure bag. So I wouldn't recommend traveling, like going around the streets with something like this. What I mostly used was this bag, which as you can see has the 3 separate pouches and 3 separate zips at the top. This was brilliant because I was able to, firstly it's crossbody, which is the most secure way to, you know, go around when you're traveling. Because it has the 3 different pouches, I was able to keep unimportant things, well, less important things here in the front, more important things in the middle or the back. All the zips, obviously, if you close the zips so that they're facing you, so you can have your hand over the top where the zips are closed, and it just means someone's not able to unzip it on you. It's held up very well considering the miles it has gone through recently. And I would still use this when I was traveling in the airport. This would still be the bag that would be over my shoulder like this, but I would also have this bag with like my laptop and stuff in, and I would just sling that on here. I was a total bag lady, but all my stuff was secure. So, you know, you do what you gotta do. One thing I found when I was traveling solo is if you're in a hostel and you're going on tours with people, or you're going to cookery classes, or you're going out anywhere and meeting new people, it's tiring because you're always on. You know, the way when you're around your friends, you're a lot more relaxed because you're not, you know, trying to get to know someone. It's a lot more relaxing when you're with your own friends and family. When you're trying to get to know people, you feel like you're always on. It can be very, very, very tiring. So I would recommend, you know, if you're traveling for a while by yourself, give yourself a break every now and then. You don't need to be making friends every second of every day. You can retreat and you can chill out and just recharge yourself. I found one of the best things that I had when I was traveling for those retreat days, but also for when I was actually physically traveling. So on long bus journeys or on planes or anything like that was Netflix. And I had my tablet, which is here, and I would download stuff on Netflix all the time. I think the most important thing to remember is to not lose your sense of fun and spontaneity and excitement when you're traveling by yourself. It can honestly be the most incredible, freeing thing ever. I gained a huge amount of confidence when I traveled by myself, knowing that you can go across the world and navigate your way and enjoy your time there and learn and explore. It's a big boost to your confidence, and it's very exciting, and for me it's just made me want to do more and more of it. So I hope that maybe some of these tips will spur you on to book your first solo travel or to continue to solo travel. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And also, if you have any other additional travel tips, because I definitely have not touched upon them all, please leave them in a comment down below, because I'm always looking to learn more. If anything, all this traveling that I've done has not gotten rid of the travel bug for me. It's actually made it worse because there's so many more places I want to go to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye. Should I? No. I need, no. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, my eyelash is falling into my eye. Yeah. No, wait. Keeping your, what's it called? Done. Did I mention hotel or hostels? I actually have to unfold my legs, I'm so sorry. Done! Feel like a man in a disco. What's this called? So loud. Okay. Sorry.